All right, today we're going to discuss e-contracts and the exciting world of online digital contracts. Sounds fascinating, doesn't it? Well, e-contracts are just electronic contracts, and all the same traditional contract terms are going to apply. So this means that the offer, acceptance, capacity, legality, all those factors are present. But with e-contracts, there are a few unique considerations. So you have a legal contract, and then there would have to be an offer and an acceptance, right? So where does the offer part take place in an electronic transaction? Well, the seller's website should have a link on their page with a full contract. And when you agree to purchase something online and you click buy, there's a link that you probably don't even notice that states the contract terms. And in this link, the seller needs to include a few things like the acceptance terms. This means how is acceptance defined, payment terms, how a payment is made. And there's also a return policy, disclaimer, limitation on remedies, privacy policy, and dispute resolution. And when you agree to purchase something online and you click buy, there's that link that you probably don't even notice that states the contract terms. And you're bound to these terms in what we call a click-on agreement. So I wanted to show you an example. I pulled up Amazon here. You've probably all taken a look at Amazon and made a purchase, I'm assuming, or at least you're familiar with it. And when you are shopping at Amazon, say we're going to go find these terms of use. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom. It's not here where you would look for it, and it's not here where you'd look for it. It's all the way down here where it says conditions of use. So if you click on there, this is where you're going to see the terms of use. These are some of the things you'd expect to find. You'd see the privacy, electronic communications, copyright rules, trademarks, that's a big thing for Amazon, patents, license and access. All of these terms of use would have that even if you weren't with Amazon, if you were with Walmart or something. How they're going to handle those reviews, comments, and communications. That's a real big part of online retail. Copyright complaints, risk of loss. You can keep going down here until we get to the biggie, and we know it's a biggie because it's all in bold. The disclaimers of warranties and limitation of liability. And what they're doing in here is they're disclaiming a slew of warranties, including the implied warranties of merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose. And the reason all this stuff is in caps is that in order for all of these claims to be valid, they have to be not only in writing, but they're required to be conspicuous. So by putting them in caps, it's supposed to make you take special notice of these terms. And you'll also notice in here we have dispute resolutions down here. And if you look at it here, you'll see that it's going to go through resolved by binding arbitration rather than court. And you should know what binding arbitration is by now. Remember that through the process of arbitration, an arbitrator will decide the outcome and the parties won't be able to appeal. And remember, both parties always have to agree to arbitration. Well, if you're clicking on this click on agreement, if you're agreeing to the terms of Amazon as laid out here, you'll be agreeing to this arbitration. You'll also see the state of jurisdiction, which we've discussed jurisdiction. You'll see it's in Washington. Now, it makes sense that Amazon would be in Washington because they're actually based in Washington, but that isn't the only reason. Here it is up here, the laws of the state of Washington. So this is their jurisdiction. Remember everything about jurisdiction. It would need to be seen. The arbitration would take place in Washington. And the thing that is interesting about online retailers in the state of Washington is Washington has very good arbitration laws for businesses. So you'll see a lot of online retailers, even if they're based out of the state of Washington, are putting themselves under the laws of the Washington. So the next time you look at online transactions, pay attention to these terms just for kicks. See what you're agreeing to when you make a purchase. They're going to look very similar to this, but you might see a little variation. It's a pretty interesting way to see how business law impacts your everyday life.